Unclean spirit!
Shove it up your ass!
In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ! It is he who commands you! He who plunged from the heights of heaven to the depths of hell!
Fuck him!
Be gone!
Fuck him!
The Exorcist, 1973, crawled out of the screen and into the lives of everyone who touched it, and some who never asked to. It didn't whisper scary stories, it screamed. Audiences fainted. Actors were scarred. Studios prayed, literally. And behind the spinning heads and levitating beds was something far more terrifying. The reality. Real deaths. Real injuries. Real darkness. It's been called cursed, haunted, possessed. But the truth is stranger than that, because this was a film that brought people close enough to feel the devil breathing. So, here are 15 scary facts about The Exorcist, and every one of them's true. Number 1, a real killer's in the movie. You've probably seen the scene. Cold white walls, the hum of machines, Reagan on the table as doctors thread a needle into her neck. And in that moment, just behind the mask, stood a man who would later be convicted of murder. Paul Bateson was a real radiology technician at NYU Medical Center. He appeared in the film as himself, steady-handed and silent. A few years later, he was arrested for the brutal killing of a film critic. Police suspected him in a string of unsolved murders. Bodies dumped in bags across Manhattan. William Friedkin visited him in prison while researching Cruising, another film steeped in darkness. Bateson never confessed to the others, but his face remains frozen in one of The Exorcist's most clinical, terrifying scenes. A moment meant to disturb suddenly feels like something else entirely. Not fiction, a documentary snapshot of a killer at work. Number 2, they actually performed an exorcism on set. The accident started early. A fire swept through the set and erased everything, except Reagan's bedroom. Actors were getting injured. Crew members were shaken. Phones rang with news of more bad luck. By the time the body count reached 9, the production felt like it was cracking under something heavier than stress. So director William Friedkin called a priest. Father Thomas Birmingham, a real Jesuit and the film's technical advisor, didn't hesitate. He stepped onto the soundstage, scattered holy water, and offered prayers over the equipment. He didn't call it an exorcism, but no one asked him to. Cast and crew watched in silence as incense floated over foam walls and camera rigs. No screaming, no dramatic music, just a quiet ritual meant to keep something away. It wasn't part of the script, but by then, people stopped caring what was fiction. They just wanted the fear to end. Number 3, Linda Blair received death threats. The film launched her into instant fame. At just 14, Linda Blair was everywhere. Talk shows, magazine covers, headlines. But not everyone saw a young actress. Some saw a warning. Religious groups accused her of glorifying Satan. Letters arrived calling her evil. The phone would ring, and on the other end were threats, violent ones. She was blamed for the very role she played. Warner Brothers assigned her bodyguards. Public appearances were tightly controlled. For months, she couldn't go anywhere alone. Outside the spotlight, she stayed quiet, trying to process a level of backlash no child should ever face. The thing she thought would change her life did, but in ways no one could prepare her for. Number 4, the set was literally cursed. The first big incident came with fire. A blaze tore through the soundstage and wiped out everything, except the room where the exorcism scenes were shot. Rebuilding took weeks. Soon after, the deaths started stacking up. Actors, crew members, even relatives of people involved began dying under strange and sudden circumstances. Jack McGowan passed shortly after completing his role. Linda Blair's grandfather died during filming. A night watchman collapsed. A crew member's newborn died. The list grew long enough that no one wanted to talk about it out loud anymore. Accidents became background noise. Electrical failures, injuries, exploding lights, just part of the routine. People came to work tense, watching corners, checking every bolt twice. You didn't need to believe in demons to feel something was wrong. By the time they wrapped, most weren't afraid of what was in the script. They were afraid of what followed them home. Number 5, the director's nightmare left scars behind. William Friedkin didn't trust fear that looked rehearsed, so he created his own. During one take, he ordered a stuntman to yank Ellen Burstyn backward harder than she expected. She hit the floor screaming. That scream stayed in the film. She later revealed it fractured her spine. Linda Blair suffered a back injury too. Her harness slipped mid-take, wrenching her body the wrong way. Friedkin fired guns off camera to startle actors, and sometimes refused to call cut. The goal was authenticity. The result was pain. No one got through filming without bruises, physical or emotional. Crew members started second-guessing every setup. Actors flinched when scenes reset. Friedkin never denied any of it. In his version of horror, performance wasn't enough. It had to hurt. And for many who walked away from the set, the fear didn't end in the credits. It lingered in the body. Number 6, Max von Sydow was aged 30 years with makeup. He stepped into the frame with white hair, deep-set lines, and the weight of someone who'd seen too much. Audiences believed Father Merrin was an old man, worn down by years of confronting darkness. Max von Sydow was only 44. The transformation came from makeup artist Dick Smith, who spent hours sculpting wrinkles, liver spots, and sagging skin with surgical precision. Every detail had to hold up under bright lights and close-ups. Sydow leaned into the role with quiet intensity, his movements slower, his breathing labored, his voice tired. Nothing about it felt exaggerated. Even the cast forgot how young he really was. The illusion held from his first scene to his last breath on screen. When people looked into Merrin's eyes, they saw age, burden, experience. What they didn't see was latex and glue holding a 44-year-old actor inside the body of a man twice his age. Number 7, the hospital scene that out-horrored the exorcism. No demons, no makeup, just a sterile room, a girl on a table, and a needle sliding into her neck. The cerebral angiography scene was shot with real doctors, real equipment, and no acting. Linda Blair lay still while blood pulsed in rhythm with her heart, caught on camera in chilling detail. The sound design stayed quiet. No music, no jump scare, just the cold hum of machinery and the soft murmur of instructions. Audiences weren't prepared. Theaters reported fainting, nausea, walkouts. Some viewers said that single moment disturbed them more than anything involving the devil. Friedkin didn't change it. He kept the long, uninterrupted take. Medical experts later said it was one of the most accurate depictions of the procedure ever filmed. For a movie built on the supernatural, the scene that haunted people most came from a hospital, with no special effects, just precision and pain. Number 8, a real priest got slapped for the perfect take. Father William O'Malley wasn't an actor. He was a Jesuit priest who agreed to play Father Dyer, the soft-spoken friend who gives Karras his last rites. On the final day of filming, his character had to break down, shaken, trembling, barely able to speak. O'Malley tried, but the emotion wasn't landing. Friedkin watched quietly, then pulled him aside. Without warning, he slapped him across the face. Cameras rolled. O'Malley stepped into the scene, hand visibly shaking, eyes full of something real. That was the take they used. Later, he said it wasn't anger, but he felt shock, a moment that blurred the line between direction and violation. On screen, it worked. Behind the scenes, it left questions that never got clean answers. O'Malley stayed in the priesthood for decades after, but that one scene, that one slap, stayed with him in ways no rehearsal ever could. Number 9, people fainted and vomited in theaters. Paramedics were called, not on set, inside the theaters. Screenings of The Exorcist turned into scenes of their own. Moviegoers fainted in aisles. Some vomited before they could reach the exits. One woman broke her jaw collapsing in the lobby. Across the country, theaters handed out barf bags as part of the ticket. Others posted warnings, bracing audiences for something more intense than they'd seen before. The reports came in waves. Newspapers covering crowds who screamed, ran out, or sat frozen in their seats long after the credits rolled. No explosions, no loud monsters, just a film that chipped away at people's nerves with silence, possession, and a child's voice twisted into something unrecognizable. Theaters became clinics. Watching The Exorcist wasn't a passive experience. It demanded something from the body, and for many, the body gave out. Number 10. The spider walk was too horrifying for 1973. The shot was finished. The footage was clean. Reagan descends the staircase upside down, hands splayed like claws, head arched backward, blood spilling from her mouth. It lasted seconds, but in test screenings, those few seconds rattled the room. People gasped. Some turned away. Studio execs watched the audience more than the scene. Then they made the call. Cut it. Too disturbing. For years, the spider walk lived in rumors and stills. Fans whispered about deleted reels and lost edits. In 2000, it returned in the director's cut. And suddenly that moment became legend. No wires, no CGI. A contortionist performed the whole thing in camera. Silent, fast. No build-up. Just a flash of wrongness that rewrote how people remembered the film. Number 11, they froze the set to capture visible breath. The breath you see in the exorcism scenes is real. There's no digital trick, no fog machine. The set was refrigerated until frost collected on the furniture. Temperatures dropped below freezing. The crew wore parkas between takes. Lights had to be adjusted quickly before they thawed the room. Linda Blair lay on the bed in a thin nightgown, her lips turning blue by the end of each shot. The room's temperature made cameras' lenses crack and film stock brittle, but it worked. You can see every breath, every shiver, caught on 35mm. Friedkin insisted on it. He wanted the cold to feel honest, not faked. By the time filming wrapped, the room had become a kind of meat locker, full of props, cables, and actors counting down the seconds until the next reset. The chill made it to the screen, and everyone who worked there carried it with them. Number 12, a lost Pazuzu statue caused an international delay. The demon had a face, and it was supposed to arrive in Iraq. A massive statue of Pazuzu, modeled after the ancient Mesopotamian deity, was shipped overseas for the film's prologue. But somewhere in transit, the crate vanished. Days passed, then weeks. Eventually, someone tracked it to Denmark. No explanation, no paperwork, just a misplaced icon of evil rerouted across continents. Production in Iraq stalled while customs sorted out the mess. Friedkin waited with a half-built scene and no demon centerpiece. The location was real, ancient ruins outside Mosul, under searing heat. Without the statue, the myth had no anchor. When the crate finally arrived, filming resumed fast. Dust kicked up. The statue was planted, and the first shot of the film clicked into place. For a story that deals in possession and chaos, using the devil before the cameras rolled felt strangely on theme. Number 13, the demon's voice was made from real suffering. Mercedes McCambridge didn't use filters or post-production tricks. She built the voice of Pazuzu from inside her own body. To get the rasp and depth, she smoked heavily. To capture the guttural growls, she swallowed raw eggs and drank whiskey to roughen her throat. During recording sessions, she insisted on being bound to a chair, arms tied down, writhing against the restraints to match Reagan's physical torment. The sounds were real. Every growl, hiss, and scream came from a place of physical exhaustion. Friedkin layered animal noises underneath, pigs, bees, and dogs, but McCambridge's performance stayed at the center. When the voice hit theaters, it didn't sound like acting. It sounded like someone alive and angry, clawing its way through a young girl's mouth. People asked who or what made that sound. The answer wasn't in the effects department. It was sitting in a dark studio, tearing its voice apart. Number 14, a painting inspired the film's scariest shot. It only lasts a few seconds. A taxi pulls up. Fog rolls over the pavement. A man in a long coat stands beneath a glowing window, suitcase in hand. His light pours down like a warning. That image, the arrival of Father Merrin, became the film's signature shot. Friedkin based the composition on Empire of Light, a surrealist painting by René Magritte. The painting showed a house lit by daylight beneath the night sky, an impossible pairing that felt quietly wrong. Friedkin mirrored that tension. Silence, stillness, something waiting in the dark. No demons, no screaming, just a man in a house that shouldn't glow like that. It became the poster, the trailer frame, and the visual that froze people before a word was spoken. Horror didn't need a face. It had a silhouette. And the painting that inspired it stayed etched in the background, like a ghost that knew how to pose. Number 15, a lightning strike hit the screening venue. Rome, 1974. The Italian premiere of The Exorcist had barely begun when the weather shifted. Outside the Metropolitan Theater, clouds gathered over the city. As the opening credits rolled, a bolt of lightning struck the church across the street. The cross on top snapped off and crashed to the ground, twisting metal and stone into the pavement. No one was inside at the time, but word spread quickly. People left their seats. Some crossed themselves. A few refused to go back in. The theater stayed open, but the mood had shifted. What started as a movie night turned into something else. An omen. A warning. Maybe both. So, what do you think stayed behind? Was it just a film, or did something actually get captured on camera that never left? Comment your thoughts down below and tune in for our next Classic Movie Rewind.